All right, guys, so another question. While we're out here in this under the hood on my work truck, we're going to be going over another question that we keep getting, and why is my RPMs dropping at a red light or while sitting and my music is playing? So we're going to go over that in this video, but first hit that subscribe button and also hit the little bell so you enable the notifications so you know every time I drop a video here and you can watch the videos first. So getting into this is really simple. So what happens is, like, usually when somebody puts a high performance alternator on their vehicle, it creates a drag on your vehicle, especially when you're playing your system, because when you're playing your system, it's requesting more amperage out of the alternator. So if it takes, say, I'm just going to use general numbers or odd numbers on this. So if your factory alternator takes 5 horsepower to turn it over, and it's like a 100 amp alternator, if you go up to a 400 amp alternator, it could request 20 horsepower to turn that alternator over, because it's creating so much more friction, if you will, inside of there to create that 400 amps of current. So what is that doing to your engine? And that is making it bogged down, especially when you have it in drive and you're at a stoplight or something like that. It's already got a slight load on it because it's in drive, it's ready to go, but you have the brake on there, so it's bringing your RPM down a little bit anyway. Once you start playing your system and it starts putting a big drag, or like it's requesting all this horsepower to turn it over, it's going to pull your RPM down, because that's why you have this big drag that's getting created, and it's going to pull your RPMs down. Sometimes your computer will notice that, and it'll like, oh, my RPMs are dropping and I'm supposed to be at 800, so oh, let me rev it back up a little bit and get you back up there. But some vehicles don't. Sometimes you have to put your foot on the gas a little bit so it'll keep your RPMs up. And an alternator, usually the higher your RPMs, up to about 1500 or 2000, is going to get you peak output. So at idle, on alternators, you'll have 2 different outputs. You'll have your idle output, which, like, say for instance on this alternator that I have on my work truck at 370, it's probably going to be giving you around, I don't know, 200 amps at idle, which on GM vehicles they usually idle kind of low, 600 or 700 RPMs. And then once you are at cruising speeds, which is 1500 RPMs or 2000, something like that, it's going to be putting out everything that it can. So you'll be getting the 370 or 390 amps of output at cruise speeds, because you're actually able to gen out the power that it can do. It's almost like at a red light, you have a cover over your mouth and you're trying to like put out peak performance. You can't really do it until you take it off, and then you can go put out what you can. So anyway, if you've ever been to a car audio competition and you see somebody go to the lanes, what do you see them doing? You see them revving up their engines. This is to spin up all this their RPM, so they get as much power as they can out of their alternators, because the higher the RPM, up to about 2000 RPMs, you're going to get more amperage out of them. So that's the information that I have for you today. I hope it's helped you in like painting the picture of why your RPMs are dropping and why people raise their RPMs to get more performance out of their alternators in an everyday application, but especially in competitions. If you've ever been to the lanes, you've seen them. Some people, they can't hear their RPMs and they're so focused on competing, they'll have their engines like redlining because they forget that they're actually holding the gas down, and they're like have their engines like pinging off the rev limiter, and they don't even know it because they're so focused on their system being as loud as possible. But anyway, hope this information has found you well. Don't forget, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below, and if we see them, we'll try to answer them for you and maybe learn you something, maybe learn me something. We'll see. But we'll see you in the next video. Later. So guys, if you want to see more of the hot content that you just saw in that video, be sure to follow me on all my social media channels, from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. The Life of Price is my handle on there. Also have Down for Sound Shop on Facebook and Instagram, and don't forget Snapchat is JPD4S. Check out all the hot content on there as well.